What's going on, guys? Back at it again with another ToG rankings video. This time we are covering the top 6 abilities and or weapons in the Name Hunt Station arc. Hope you guys are excited for it. And also make sure you are heading over to Dr. Bonehead's channel after watching this video as he joins us here to go over the top 6 abilities, but also as his other video covering the top 6 moments for the Name Hunt Station will be on his channel as well. But without further ado, let's hop right into this list.
Alright, coming in at the top of the list, number 6 is Alfine's Shadow Fox. It can be easy to forget how overpowered this thing really was, but dude, Alfine's Shadow Fox literally drains your Shinsu until you die. Now, the fox has to connect to your shadow, like fair enough, okay, so there's something that has to be done. But with Bomb and Kun, it did it just like that. Like, it was super easy. Alfine led them into the trap, you know. And the one flaw of this fox is that the room itself is its bowl, and Kun was able to abuse that to defeat the fox. But this thing cannot be attacked once connected to your shadow. Like, you can't do anything. You know, maybe a ranker would figure something out, some kind of light technique, I have no idea. But as far as we know, it's impossible to kill, it drains your Shinsu, it can still attack you. Like, it ate Yukon, one of the other 10 bosses. Like, this thing, it's nuts. It deserves number 6 for sure.
Okay, number 5 on this list is the Extreme Butterfly Piercing Technique. So, this one's pretty dope. It's essentially an upgraded version of the butterfly piercing technique that we've already seen Bam use. It was taught to him by Jin Sung Ha, and this technique actually allows him to basically tap into the full power that this technique can utilize. So it's really dope because he gets this giant crimson energy blast that he uses from his hand to strike his opponent, and the same original technique and skills of the butterfly piercing technique still apply here, just quite literally amplified. I mean, the scope and power of this attack is so big that you see this giant blue and black floral butterfly design or pattern that appears when he uses it that just explodes into the sky, which just gives you a small idea to the latent potential and damage that this attack could really do. Nevertheless, something like this just had to be on this list.
We have Fenrir. Essentially, Kaiser or Elaine is able to utilize this wolf, her anima, that does not require a tank, which is incredibly busted just right out the gate, right? With a weapon like this, with an anima user, that is the biggest downside to their abilities. The fact that they have to have a tank, it confines and limits them in terms of their use of the anima. No tank with this one, so that's already nuts right out the gate. Number 2, this thing's bite is said to be able to pierce the skin of a ranker. I know a lot of people have been very adamant whenever the show tries to compare a regular to a ranker or tries to do power scaling in that regard. So coming from floor 40, 41, wherever the hell she is, for her to be able to pierce the skin of a ranker and then effectively be able to beat a ranker if she plays her cards right, which I'll explain in a moment, makes this a incredibly lethal and great ability to have. We get the third ability that gets put in here, right? Is that once you are bleeding, you cannot heal from that wound unless Elaine wants you to heal from that wound, which means all Elaine has to do is play a song and dance and fling around the room or whatever she has to do until you bleed out and die. So therefore, on technical terms, Elaine could defeat a ranker if she played her cards right. Also, not to mention that this weapon is virtually invisible. You cannot see it unless you are Bomb. You could sense it. And she can pull a freaking Renegon move like Sasuke and just swap places with the wolf on a dime. So if she is about to be lethally injured, if she's about to be critically injured rather, she is able to swap places with the wolf, and now you're jumping right into a open mouth. So this weapon is incredibly versatile, and you get your own doggo to hang out with.
Okay, number 3 on our list is Kranos, the ignition weapon that's currently in the possession of Yuri Jihad. So we know that this needle first belonged to somebody named Quadrado, who was a high ranker that traveled with the 10 family heads at their first time going up the tower. Now, he loses this needle and ends up losing it to Yurik Mizuno. Now, this weapon is really cool, one, just from a design perspective. It has these stone-like pieces that are all encasing the actual needle, and it actually, if you look at it, there is the story of Quadrado's journey with the 10 great warriors, their first time going up the tower. So it literally has like the inscription of the journey that they made going through this tower. So this weapon is touted as being one of the strongest ignition weapons that there is. It can only be used once a day, and it can be used on any floor, which is, as far as we know from the ignition weapons that have been revealed, a huge plus. With the sheer destructive force that this weapon displays, we simply had to put it at number 3 on this list.
Number 2 on our Name Hunt Station abilities list, which honestly was a contender for number 1, but we decided number 2, is Evan's Frog Fisher. Okay, so it's a little thing, a little frog thing that you put on your finger, pretty unintimidating, but when used, this thing is one of the most busted items in the entire tower. Rankers, non-rankers, I don't care. This thing can do so much. So not only is it mobile, you can put it in your pocket, whatever. Evan has this giant backpack, but this thing is like so small. But it has 5 desires. It does 5 different things. One of them is hunger. So it basically can absorb Shinsu attacks, or attacks in general, we're not really sure. But it absorbed a gigantic Shinsu attack from Karaka, like no problem at all. Then it has Destructive Urge, so it can shoot out Shinsu, right? It doesn't necessarily have to absorb to attack, it can just attack you. Okay, so that seems pretty busted, but why is it number 2? Like those seem pretty good, but why is it at number 2, right? It can literally turn back time. Now, it can't legit turn back time. However, it can reverse objects to its previous state. So that bridge that was collapsing because of Karaka, Evan freaking fixed it. He fixed it and it didn't have any cracks or anything. It was reversed. Back in time, 100%, legit. Like, it went back in time, that object. And that's just 3 of its 5 desires. Just looking at what we have, though, the 3 desires that we know, it easily deserves the second best spot.
All right, so number 1, we have Infinite Past Lives used by Karaka. This ability comes in at number 1 because you have infinite lives. I mean, there's really not much more to say than that. It is incredibly useful in the sense that you really can't die, right? At least in the traditional sense. Now, later on, we understand a little bit more about Karaka with his heart being sealed away somewhere and that there's a workaround with that. But on base level, if you're not someone with access to that part of the tower, which very few people are, you're essentially immortal. So while every other ability is great in every which way, shape, and form, we've listed why these abilities are so useful. This one really, I believe, has to take the cake here, and the guys agree. It's, you fail a test, you die, oh, that sucks, get a new body, you try it again, right? You get in some sort of scuffle with someone you shouldn't have, you die, well, that sucks, go with another body, try again, right? There's an infinite amount of potential with an ability like this, and while it's not doing anything particularly flashy in that sense, it's not creating giant explosions and all that kind of thing, it's giving you the opportunity to remedy past mistakes that you've made, and you can't die. So for that reason, and really need I say more, this is going to come in at number 1 on our list. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed our top 6 abilities in the Name Hunt Station arc for Season 2 of Tower of God. If you did, please consider leaving a like on the video so that we know you liked it, subscribing to the channel if you're new here, commenting your thoughts down below as well. What do you think about our top 6 list? Would you have changed anything? And what abilities really stood out to you in the Name Hunt Station arc? And also make sure you guys are heading over to Dr. Bonehead's channel yet again to check out the top 6 moments in the Name Hunt Station as well. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the flip. Peace.
Ninjas and samurais, blazing the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly. They like what you saying. Goma got more through the storylines. I tested your neck from the start. My hunters gon' come for your heart. I promise you'll land in my boulevard. Left them in one piece, no curse.